What's going on, guys? Welcome to our random video on this channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some mobile data plans. Now, a lot of people have been watching my videos, especially from England and Ireland and even Canada. So a lot of you guys around the world are watching my videos, which is fantastic. And a lot of you guys have questions. And I know some people have been mentioning things going on outside of the United States. I see the comments and I'm going to be trying to answer some of these questions. Now, to our friends in Canada, a lot of you guys keep asking about these companies such as Rogers and Wind Mobile, even Bell. See, this is the situation with these companies. I called Rogers myself, and by the way, Rogers, the same company who owns the Toronto Maple Leafs, and some might be offended. If you're a hockey fan, just know that I'm an Islanders and a Red Wings fan. So of course I like to root against the Toronto Maple Leafs, although you guys got Matt Martin. Congratulations on that. If you don't know who that is, that's a former Islander. But anyways, this is what's going on with Rogers. No, they do not have an unlimited data plan. At the same time, though, a competitor like Wind Mobile, who says that they have these data plans and they're saying that the full speed is going to be at a certain amount, meaning if you use 5 gigabytes of data, that's all going to be full speed, and then they slow you down. Rogers just says this is the data that you can pay for, and then if you want additional data, then you're going to have to pay for it as well. Is it a great situation? Well, you have to look at Rogers from the point of view that they have other services. So if you're in Canada and you're using your cable service, your mobile service, and not only that, your internet, you can get a pretty decent price. But that's also including the fact that you don't have unlimited data for your phone. That being said, you have pretty good data speeds with their internet service. So you have to put all those factors together. So Rogers is a bit of a unique situation. I would compare it somewhat to the situation with AT&T and DirecTV over here in the US. From my knowledge and from my research, this seems like to be an infrastructure issue with Canada. So if Canada doesn't have the infrastructure, especially the mobile infrastructure, and they're not selling you unlimited data plans, real unlimited data plans, and they don't have a CEO running around like this guy from T-Mobile, John Ledger, then you have to look at the situation from a Canadian's point of view. If you're in Canada and they don't have the infrastructure to provide this kind of service, then none of the companies should really be saying they're offering any kind of unlimited service. And this is exactly what Rogers does. They're being honest with you. Now, is the pricing great? Well, compared to what I would use here, it's pretty similar. Now, I have an unlimited data plan, but at the same time, you guys don't have the services there. So the situation here is that you can't be that angry at Rogers. And this is real talk for the Canadians out there. Not the Montreal Canadiens, of course. I'm talking about the Canadians around Canada.
Au nom d'Henri et de moi-même, me fait plaisir de vous accueillir au repêchage amateur 2009 de la Ligue de hockey nationale. Merci. Bonsoir.
Merci pour la bienvenue. Bonsoir. Bonsoir. Bonsoir.
T-Mobile is going all unlimited. It's total bullshit.
Bonsoir.
I was talking real talk about T-Mobile, and I was thinking that how ridiculous they were because that CEO is running around and he's being obnoxious. Not only that, T-Mobile can't really offer unlimited data. They can even cancel your service. I was talking about that in a previous video. But if you look at Rogers, and again, guys, I was prepared to talk about Rogers and the fact that Rogers Sports and Entertainment owns the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs haven't won a Stanley Cup in over 60 years. I'm a hockey fan. I was really prepared for this. I was even thinking about how the fans were throwing their jerseys on the ice and the management's overpaid, and Rogers Sports and Entertainment owns them and they're making a lot of money. From what I was told, they have 4G LTE. But at the same time, this is an infrastructure issue. So the next step for Canadians is really to ask for better infrastructure. This goes for everywhere. In the US, we're asking for better internet, better roads, better transportation, better everything. That's what people ask for. So in Canada, it's the citizens' responsibility to do the same thing. The community has to speak out and say, you know what? We need better internet, even better than what we have now. We need better mobile services. But to be honest with you, I'll go back to the internet service from Rogers. It sounds pretty good. I'm not sure how other users feel about that. If you have to use it all the time, do you ever notice slowdowns? You guys can tell me in the comments. So in the United States, with cable bills, mobile data plans, it's a problem. And the problem starts with these things not being a utility. If they're a utility, then people just need to understand that everyone needs to have a mobile data plan, everyone needs to have a cable bill or internet service, whatever the situation is. But you need to have these services because technology is advancing and everyone needs those services so their devices function properly. So this is what it's all about. So I think the pricing is fair that you guys are spending money on individual gigabytes. With a core issue like that, because we have net neutrality here in the US, no, I don't think it's fair that you have to spend on each gigabyte, but if the infrastructure doesn't support that data, then it's a bigger issue than just one company like Rogers, and that's a fact, because you need companies that actually understand infrastructure, mobile infrastructure, to make it better. I know a situation here where T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, they're always talking about the next technology that they want to work on because they don't have the infrastructure themselves to provide really unlimited data for everyone here. So that's the situation that we have. Is it going to be the same situation in Canada all the time like that? Not necessarily, because again, with technology, you would think that these companies would want to make their services even better. Now, if they don't and they get lazy, then you're going to have a situation where you could really complain about them. I don't know, you guys out there that use Rogers or any other Canadian company like that, give us your opinions about them. Let us know your experiences with what's going on with Rogers or Wind or Bell. I hear a lot from Rogers and Bell, but that's because, again, I'm a hockey fan, so I hear about these companies. You know, I hear about Pizza too, but Pizza is really fake pizza. Not only that, it's probably one of the worst pizzas out there. No offense, Pizza, but I don't know what you guys are selling. But anyways, the point is that when you talk about these mobile companies, first of all, you have to talk about what they're capable of. Now, Rogers doesn't market themselves like a company like T-Mobile, and I think that's the point that I want to try to explain here. A lot of people try to describe what's going on with T-Mobile. They're posting comments, they're arguing with me about T-Mobile, all sorts of stuff on this channel. But the point is, the reason why we talk about T-Mobile so much is because of how ridiculous they are. They have a CEO that tries to sell this unlimited data plan, quote unquote, and then you find out that they actually cancel your service if you use too much data. And not only that, you don't know how much data that is, because every quarter they're trying to figure out how much data it is when they would cancel your service. And then after they cancel your service, they say they have a process where you can actually argue the fact that they shouldn't have canceled your service in the first place. So there's a lot of things going on with T-Mobile that are much different than a company like even Rogers. Although Rogers sells per gigabyte similar to what Verizon does, these other companies, at the very least, they're telling you what they're doing. Basically, put your hand out, punch you in the face with the other hand, because they want to get your business, but they're still telling you what they're doing. Now, you have a situation with T-Mobile that punches you in your face, offers you fake pizza, gives you some ice cream, and then they're saying how great they are. See, it's a different story with T-Mobile, and this is another point about them. When they offer all of these gimmicks, just to avoid the conversation about deprioritizing the data, or trying to offer you unlimited 480p video, and they don't have the capacity to offer you unlimited HD video. These are the issues that we're talking about here, where companies are marketing themselves in a dishonest way. Even the person from T-Mobile agreed with me, saying it was a marketing issue. And of course it is, because if a company can't offer unlimited data, such as Rogers or any of the other mobile carriers here in the US, it's a fact that they can't offer the unlimited data. So we can't argue with them about it, and we can't trash them unless we think they're being lazy about it and they're not making their network better on purpose. Now, with the situation with Rogers, if they have real plans, and I'm talking about actual plans to make their network better, offer the customers better prices and better services, we can't argue with them. Because again, the issue here is when a company is not being honest. And I actually think, from what I'm seeing of Rogers, they're honest about it. But then, talking about all these things with Rogers, I would like to ask the question about Google's Pixel phone. Google, how come this phone is cheaper in Canada than the United States? Oh, Canada, our phones are cheaper here. Why is it like this? Google, you have some questions to answer. For the Pixel at 32 gigabytes, that's 399 Canadian dollars. That translates to $300.98. With 128 gigabytes of storage, that is 529 Canadian dollars. That translates to $399.05. Then if you look at the Pixel XL, 32 gigabytes, 549 Canadian dollars. That translates to $414.14. And then with the Pixel XL with 128 gigabytes, that's 679 Canadian dollars. That translates to $512.20. Google, what are you guys doing? And by the way, I'm looking at Rogers pricing based on a 2-year contract. Seriously, Google, you guys are charging 649 US dollars for a 32 gigabyte storage with the Pixel. For the Pixel XL, you have to spend another $120. That's $769. Not only that, you have to spend another $100 for the 128 gigabytes of storage. So really, the question is this. Google, what are you guys doing over there? Again, if anyone thinks I'm just complaining about this, let's compare prices one more time. $869 with 120 gigabytes of storage for a Pixel XL compared to 679 Canadian dollars, and that translates to $512.20. Google, are you guys out of your mind? And you can't say it's just about Rogers, because Rogers had to get the phone somewhere. And I know it works the same here, because if you get a 2-year contract with some of these carriers, you're going to spend less money on the phone. And Google, the reason why it's so expensive is because you have one mobile carrier selling it, and then you have the Google Play Store having the phone. That's a problem. Don't you realize this? Of course you realize this, because they're saving money over there in Canada while we're spending hundreds of dollars more just for this stupid phone with a half a piece of glass on the back of it that looks absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry, guys. This just is crazy. This is not the way these phones should be sold. I mean, really, why are we spending more money on a Pixel phone when you go up to Canada? You probably get the phone cheaper. Although the phone won't be able to work here, you would still get the phone cheaper there, and then you can return back to the country and say, look guys, I spent only a few $100s on my phone. Pixel phone is still gonna look weird. And the funny thing is, if you look at the reviews for these phones in the comments, a lot of people out there are saying, hey, you know, this phone is interesting, but if it was like the pricing of the Nexus phone, they would probably purchase it. And not only that, they're probably thinking, okay, if the phone was a few $100s, it's reasonable. But Google, you didn't do that. Maybe you did that in Canada, but you definitely didn't do it in the United States. Oh, say, can you see? Canada has phones that are cheaper than the US because Google wants to try and make more money here. Seriously, Google, I don't even know what to say to you guys anymore. I mean, you create these phones, you try to say how amazing they are in 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes. You tried to explain that the assistant was so great. Maybe we should get the Google Assistant to translate Canadian dollars to US dollars so everybody understands that we're not getting a good deal with this Pixel phone, and it's probably one of the worst things for the Android community in a really long time. Because Android fans and users are not stupid. They try to really convince you with those stupid commercials that they have the best service, but we know what's going on with their data plans. I'm not saying you won't get great service with Verizon, but nobody is switching to Verizon to get the Pixel phone unless you're a complete maniac. And it sounds like Google should just really stay with the name Nexus. I don't care if you call it a Pixel phone. It's really Nexus phones. I really think it's funny when people say, hey, this is looking like something really different. No, it's a Nexus phone called Pixel and Pixel XL. You might as well just call it Nexus. I think we should start doing that. Just start calling it Nexus phone so it could really anger Google. I'm able to pay attention to what people are saying, because this is not a good situation with this phone. I read some things being said about these phones, especially the previous versions of Nexus phones. If you think that this is a good move by Google to go to the Pixel phone or Pixel XL and they're charging this kind of price for these phones, then you're probably not a real Android fan. Real Android fans, they don't like what's going on here, and I can understand why. This is not what the Nexus phone is supposed to be about. The platform is supposed to be the most important, meaning that everyone's supposed to be able to use the platform if they want to. Now, some other people out there may say, well, you could spend $27 a month and pay for the phone. Why would you have to do that? And this is another thing that's ridiculous, because if you look at the pricing, why should the Pixel phone be $399 Canadian dollars, which translates to $300.98? That doesn't make any sense at all. That's not the way this should be. If you're going to spend money on a phone, you should be spending money on that phone that's reasonable. Not only that, but it is competitively priced, meaning you can go purchase phones from Samsung if you want, if you're interested in the Galaxy phones, but by the way, guys, be careful if that phone explodes, because apparently they're dangerous. And then even the phones that Samsung resent out to people, apparently there's an issue with them too. So you have to be careful with Samsung right now. But seriously, with any of these other companies besides Google, if we look at the pricing of the phones, This is not something that people just want to have one option with. You can't tell people to spend $649 and then another $120 for the XL and then $100 extra for the storage. That's not competitively priced. And then you're talking about close to $900. That's a very expensive phone. And not only that, it's not that much different than the previous versions of what you were calling the Nexus phones. This seems to be a marketing thing that is just gone absolutely crazy. We're the ones who make this platform what it is. You should be creating great phones. Not only that, pricing them fairly and not putting some ridiculous piece of glass on the back of the phone that makes it look odd. What's wrong with you guys? And by the way, if you're a Rogers customer, you're listening to this is just me being really angry about the situation with the Pixel phone. It is a complete disappointment, and not only that, if you're a Rogers customer, go ahead. Purchase the Pixel phone. You're getting a great price, by the way. Why not? If we had pricing like that over here, a lot more people would be purchasing that phone. And the back of the phone, it's not that big of a deal to me because you can always purchase a cover. I have a cover for my phone. It's for Nexus 6, and it's fine. You have the back of the phone that's covered anyways because you want to protect the phone. But seriously, Google, you guys have a lot of work to do with that Pixel phone so we can see what you're doing. Don't you get it? Just because you put the phones over in Canada at a really great price doesn't mean we're not going to see it and notice it. I mean, come on, really. And I hope other people start talking about this because so far I haven't noticed anyone else talking about this. But this is a real issue because for those of us that see this kind of thing going on with Google and Android, we're not going to just accept it and say congratulations on a great phone. We're going to talk honestly about this because I see people out there talking about the iPhone 7, 7 Plus. Go ahead and talk about it because a lot of the other companies out there, they're not too impressive right now because what they're doing is being lazy. But anyways, thank you very much for watching yet another random video on this channel. I would like to know what you guys think, especially about Rogers Wireless if you're a Rogers customer, or even that situation with the pricing of the Pixel phone or Pixel XL. Post your comments down below, and of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I will see you guys later. Peace out.